Hello everyone and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. And you can hear it maybe that I'm a little bit blocked up. It's very, very windy, a lot of dust swirling around today. So I'm suffering the consequences of that. Yesterday I was busy helping one of my girls with a music thing and the day kind of got away from me. And by the time I was back in the royal world, it was too late to do tarot. But the Andrew news had broken. Prince Andrew, now plain old Mr. Mountbatten Windsor. What a shock. I don't think anyone thought it would happen as quickly and as clinically as it did. And I'm not really interested in the ramifications for the Yorks. We've had a bit of a look at that, and what I am interested in is the general consensus that this was almost like a dry run for the Sussexes, a practice run, get the constitutional law stuff right so that one day, whether it's King Charles or King William, one day the Sussexes will be going to. Maureen Callahan says in an article in the Daily Mail that they're picking at the edges now. She was told by a palace source, they're picking at the edges now. A bigger unravelling is coming, namely the Harry situation. The Harry titles, Prince and Duke, the HRH style has already been removed. But this is a shock. There is a rumour that Harry might have got wind of this and did a hasty trip back to the UK in between the New York appearance and the pumpkin patch appearance in the Dodgers game. And he was looking particularly grim in New York. He was looking tearful, he was looking angry at Meghan, angry at the world, and possibly there was a mad scramble back to the UK to beg and plead for his titles. We don't know, we will never know for sure, but we are going to ask the question with the Apprentice Tarot today. That's a plain and simple Rider-Waite tarot on the tarot table. We're going to have a look at this situation. Did Harry have some kind of a heads up? Was he shocked, horrified when the Andrew news broke yesterday? How's he feeling as the axe hovers over his neck, basically? Horrible image, so sorry about that, but it's bound to happen. It's a foregone conclusion, I think, that it's going to happen to Harry, whether now or later. How's he feeling? What's the mood like, and what's the impact on the marriage? And then we're going to ask some questions when this does happen to Harry, because again, I do think it's a foregone conclusion that at some stage he is too going to be plain old has-been Mountbatten Windsor. When that happens, implications for him, his sense of self, his money-making opportunities, his relationship with the rest of the royals, the actual royals, and his public, how the public's going to view him, and then how's he going to respond when this happens. We're going into the future now. How will he respond when this happens, and will he blame Meghan? We're going to do a similar reading for Meghan next, so quite long readings. As I say, they're the ones that I think are really in the royal sight. The Andrew thing was just get him out the way. He's terribly embarrassing. Bad things, more bad things I'm sure are going to be revealed about Andrew. It's a habit to say Prince Andrew. Plain old Andrew, common old Mr. Mountbatten Windsor. That must really hurt. So we're going for the Sussexes here. Tarot, fun and entertainment, of course, or just my opinion, of course, and my speculation, and just read energy and disclaimer in the box below. Got lots of cards to squish in here, so we're going to squish as best we can and see what happens. Page of Pentacles. That card, that's our underlying energy, of course. That card is telling me almost like a petition. And as I say, there is a rumour that Harry made a mad dash back to the UK. Maybe one of the cousins, maybe usually gave him a heads up that this was on the cards, and he went scrambling back to the UK, because this is petitioning. This feels to me like some sort of an offer, or even a begging, or a negotiation, or a deal that is being offered. Let me do this, and let me keep my titles. A negotiation. That's how I'm reading that little page of Pentacles. In, of course, the Apprentice Tarot, there are keywords. You can make of them what you will, but that's how I'm reading that underlying energy. So let's look at the heart of the reading. What are we dealing with? Harry and the titles thing. We've got the High Priestess, and this is mystery and secrets. I think that there is a whole lot going on behind the scenes that we aren't privy to, and I think also Harry isn't privy to. More and more people are speculating that the King's health is really much worse than we are being told. That's consistent for me as an energy reader. I consistently get that when I look at the King's health. But I think that there's a whole lot going on that is really mysterious, secret, that even to Harry, which must be incredibly uncomfortable if you had certain expectations. If just a few weeks ago you were pushing hard for the half in, half out thing, the Operation Bring Has Been Home thing was in full swing, and now your uncle is just Mr. Mountbatten Windsor, and you very likely are going to be the same quite soon, relatively soon. So did Harry know? Did he have a heads up and make a dash for it? I've got the Queen of Swords, and it's in reverse. That's a very calculating, cold energy when it's in reverse. Very strategic, very shrewd. He might well have got a heads up from a female family member. It could even be someone like the Princess Royal. I can't imagine that the Princess Royal would phone him up and say, "Oi, this is what's going on." You never know. But it's definitely, I'm going to speculate wildly here. It could even be a member of government. Say, for instance, and this is a wild speculation, someone like Yvette Cooper. Someone, because I'm sure that this was debated in the halls, the corridors of power, the constitutional lawyers. This is a procedure that I gather has not really ever been used to remove titles like Prince and Duke. It's the warrant, or the royal warrant procedure. It has been to grant such titles, but not to take them away. So there must have been conversations, as I say, in the corridors of power. I do think he got an alert with that Queen of Swords in reverse, because it's very chilling. It's a very harsh energy, a very harsh a news about something very cold and shocking coming down, and everybody has said that's just clinical. It's not the normal kind of Charles language, so we all know who we all suspect is behind the language. We're not looking at that now today. So let's move on. I do think he had some kind of idea that this was coming. Was he shocked, angry? His feelings when the Andrew news broke. We're talking about the Andrew news. I got the Nine of Pentacles. It's interesting card, because I think he's looking at the Yorks that were, the now Mountbatten Windsors, and thinking they've done quite well out of the deal, even though it's humiliating. There's talk today in the British press that Andrew might get a huge payout for his lease. He might get a very comfortable residence at Sandringham. He obviously will still benefit from his connections in places like the Middle East. He will be allowed to do what he likes, basically. The king will have to subsidize him. So it's independence, that Nine of Pentacles, still living a very good life. It's not like he's ruined. He is ruined in the sense of who he is, but financially not so bad. So I think Harry's kind of looking at this and thinking, not that bad. I could live with this. I could do with this. I don't know. It's an interesting energy. It's an interesting perception that's coming through. And, you know, one of the reasons why I do tarot is to find out these kinds of different perspectives on things we might all assume, oh, well, it's going to go like that, or they're going to feel like this. Not necessarily. But that's the Andrew situation, okay? That's what that little column is about. This is the axe hovering now. And the prospect, the likelihood of Harry's titles also going at some stage. How does he feel about that? We're asking that very direct question. Yeah, here we go. We've got the 9 of Swords. That's tremendous stress. Keywords, 9 of Swords is all about worry. So, yeah, he's looking at Andrew's situation and thinking Andrew and maybe Sarah, they got off quite lightly given the situation. He himself, another 9, is penultimate energy. You're heading towards an ending, and a bad ending with the 9 of Swords. You're heading towards 10 of Swords energy, which is ruin. And he is very worried. I think extra anxious. That's the reason why this 9 of Swords is in reverse. So that's his current energy, his view of his own situation. What about his marriage? How is it impacting his marriage? And we got the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, which is bad luck. Keywords sometimes hit and miss in this particular tarot for me. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. This is a devastating blow for the marriage. Really, it's evil timing. It's misfortune. It's spectacular misfortune. It's like a tower moment. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse, for me, energetically reads very similar to the Tower card in tarot. A shock, a terrible reversal that you don't see coming and you feel is like an act of God. It's not something that you control. It just comes out of nowhere. And so this is the worst possible news for his marriage. Would you think Madame will stick around if she's just Mrs. Mountbatten Windsor, or Windsor as I'm going to call them from now on and forevermore? I don't think so. That's just my opinion, of course. Let's ask at ramifications for Harry. We're going into hypothetical territory now. The future Mr. Mountbatten Windsor, when he's lost his titles, as most likely he will currently, unless something radical happens. Let's not tempt fate. There is fate right there on the tarot table. So first of all, his sense of self, if he's just reduced to a commoner. 7 of Pentacles in reverse. A very bad news for him. A setback, a financial setback, a setback for himself in terms of what he's been planning for, investing in his finding freedom, exiting, all of that was about becoming a billionaire, setting up a rival court, many people suspect, in Montecito, and it's all come to nothing with the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. So it's a tremendous setback in terms of status, in terms of power, in terms of money, all bad. So that's his sense of self, a failure. Oh, this dust is just unbelievable. What about his money-making opportunities? We've already seen it's going to have a very negative effect on that. King of Cups in reverse. It's going to be very difficult for him because he's going to lose his connection to the royals, to Pa, who's the King of Cups, and to the next king, the king in waiting, Prince William, King William. He loses his royal adjacency with that King of Cups in reverse. He becomes nothing and no one. And so who wants to make deals with that kind of a person, a big loser, possibly even America's biggest loser at that time. Also just generally unpopular, although we're going to look at how the public's going to view him specifically coming up. Not yet. A relationship with the royals. How's it going to go for him as a family member of royals? His relationship with the royals, if this happens. And we've got the 6 of Cups. Odd energy in the circumstances. It's reconciliation, the 6 of Cups, and kind of going back to the past and remembering the good old days and stuff like that. He might reconnect with them at some different kind of level, at some different moment in the future. There might be somehow some sort of connection that's quite strange. You wouldn't expect that if he's just plain old has-been whinger. Why would he get on so well with them? Maybe it just makes things easier. I should imagine that in this scenario, there is no madame, the claw has been removed, and maybe some of the ego has gone as well, because there isn't ego in the Six of Cups. It's an emotional card. It's relating to people because of your past connections with them and your fondness for them and your happy memories. It's not about ego. It's not about competing with your brother, who is now king. I should imagine he will be king by then. We never know, because the news could break tonight. Who would have thought yesterday that the Andrew news would be coming? So public perception of Harry, if he's just plain Mr. Whinger. Page of Wands. It's a liberating energy, that he's free now. He's free to be the person that he always claimed he wanted to be, to go off on new adventures and explore, it says, start up new projects, new direction. It's positive. They're going to look at it and think, well, you've been reduced to a mere nobody, a Mr. Nobody. But it frees him to go and do the things that he claimed he always wanted to do. Maybe go and live in Africa. He claimed that he wanted to live in Africa. Go and be just a normal person, live a normal life. Instead of being a royal, he's completely ill-equipped to be a royal. There was a hideous video of him at the baseball game on Saturday, where he's squatting down talking to someone and showing his bum on TV. Seems to have a tattoo on his bum as well. Who needs to see that? But he's not cut out to be royal. He's scruffy. He's lazy and all the things. But he might do better. So the public aren't looking at him and thinking, oh, you dreadful disgrace. They're looking at him and thinking, well, come on, be the person that you've always claimed you wanted to be. So how would he respond? Hypothetically, of course, in the moment when he becomes a commoner, how will he respond? The Emperor. This is a liberation for him. He's not going to become the king, but it's taking control, the Emperor, responsibility, leadership. He might actually knuckle down to something at last, instead of being always looking like he's intoxicated, dopey, under someone else's influence or under the influence. He might actually respond in a positive way and step up to something and find a new lease in life. And if he does that, well, hooray, this could be the making of him. I would not have thought this. Starting this reading, that's not what I was expecting to see on the tarot table. But there is the Emperor. That is someone who reaches some maturity and some control of their lives, becomes a true leader. It's military, so it could be in a military kind of a context as well. The Emperor, of course. But that's positive. Would he blame Madame for the way his life has gone? Would he view her very negatively? When this all happens, how will he think of her? I've got the Six of Wands. That's not blaming. It's not blaming. He might still look at his relationship with her and think at some level that it was the right thing to do, that it's opened up possibilities that he wouldn't otherwise have had. And again, that's a strange energy. That's not how I would have expected this to go. But of course, we all are watching this scenario with fascination, because he's not responding in the way we would expect him to respond. He's not seeing the things we would expect him to see. If he did, he wouldn't still be in that marriage, and he wouldn't have lost what we perceive, or I perceive, let me not speak for you all as well, that I perceive he's lost. I personally think he's lost everything. His dignity, his titles, his future, his sense of self. But it looks as if he could rediscover some of those things. The Six of Wands is the triumphal return. That's going back minus her. Going back into his old kind of a life, but not as a working royal, not as a prince, not as a duke, not as his royal highness, just as a plain old somebody. But there's something about this that he still feels quite arrogant about. These are the two arrogant cards in the tarot, just saying. So there's no need for pity for him if you're tempted in that direction, because the Emperor and the Six of Wands are the major and the minor arcana cards for ego, which can, of course, tend towards extreme narcissism and arrogance. This is not going to break him. He's very worried right now. Very. But in due course, this is his response. This is way in the future. That ego is going to come bouncing right back. So strange energy on this tarot table. But anyway, that's the Harry reading. We're going to move on to the Meghan one.